Okay, here's your crash course for overview for ham radio. Real quick. So this represents a sound wave, this whole thing. AM is the amplitude. So when it transmits, it uses the full height of the signal. FM is the frequency, and the frequency is how long or the distance it takes to get from the top of the amplitude to the bottom and how fast that cycles. So a lower frequency cycles slower, a higher frequency cycles faster. So it's quicker. So you get more of these waves into a shorter space. Also, the signal is broken in half into sidebands, upper sideband, lower sideband. So we transmit using frequency, amplitude, and the upper sideband or the lower sideband. So that's real quick on how that works. Now, the frequencies, which is the quickness that it goes up and down, is all on the radio. And you set it on the dial. So the lower the frequency, generally, the closer in the contact. And the lower frequencies are, they work better at night generally because of the atmosphere. There's your Morse code. Different parts of the frequencies or different frequencies are set apart for different use, like voice, digital, Morse code. And these radios are made for like getting where you need to be fast. So, see if I can find a quick voice. It was on upper sideband. I switched it to lower sideband. This frequency, they use lower sideband. Yeah. So, anyways, on these lower frequencies, a lot of times they'll do networks at specific times where people will check in with traffic, emergency traffic, to send to certain areas in the states or across the states. And they relay that from ham radio operator to ham radio operator until they get it to where it needs to be. Let's see. This frequency here. This is another one that's used at night. It's just in better shape at night, but it is used during the day for different services where people driving across the U.S. can check in and get information or report problems. And the higher up in the frequency, the longer the distance you can communicate. This here is worldwide. Usually it's best for long distance at night, but then like the Maritime Mobile Net or the Hurricane Watch Net will be on this band, the 14 megahertz band. And then you get up into these frequencies up here. These are worldwide, depending on the propagation in the atmosphere. You can use voice, Morse code. I'll show you real quick. Digital. This is a program that we use for one of the organizations I'm with, and they monitor or report any issues around the U.S. And it's broken down by category. So the overall status, the power, the water, the medical communications, travel, internet, fuel, food, critical infrastructure, civil unrest, and the political. Like if your government is intact, green is good, yellow is there's problems, red is it's terrible. So these are generated through this program, and you can key in this form right here, and this program will take it, translate it, broadcast it in a digital, and I'll show you what that sounds like here in a minute. And then this program plots that on the map so you can see at a view what's going on around the country. So this was from an exercise, and I did one here. And if you look for this ID number right up here, you can see that this was the report. The status was red, the power was down, blah, 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 blah. And then this gives the details of all the communications going on between the different stations. And this is all digital. So let me show you quickly a digital, how that works. And one thing to keep in mind with these radios, you can hear all the shortwave broadcasts from around the world and what's going on depending on the band conditions. So these here are digital signals. Each one of these right here is a station broadcasting a digital signal with traffic that goes up here. And I'm going to clear all this out. I'll show you what it looks like here. I'm going to move to another frequency that's not so heavily used. And I'm going to send out what's called a heartbeat. And this is just asking who can hear me. So here's a bunch of people that are transmitting right now, passing traffic. When they're done, this is going to fire off. It's sending, and it's basically saying who can hear me. This radio runs 100 watts. I'm running 40 watts. This digital stuff is meant to run at lower power. Saves your power, saves your battery. Your average person cannot understand what's being said here. Now anybody who hears me and has their computer set up to respond will send back a signal report. And those red ones are all stations that responded to my call for a heartbeat. So these are all stations. Let's see, Whiskey 9, that's I think that's Wisconsin. Let's see. Let's go over here. KB8. That is Midwest. KC3, I think, is out east, New York. Possibly further east. 4 is New York, I think. 5 is, I believe that's Midwest. Maybe Ohio or Indiana. So anyways, that's kind of the rundown in a nutshell.